Hello everyone, Jeff here for Respawn Studios, back with part 2 of my Crota's End raid guide for the Dark Below, the first Destiny DLC. So in part 1 we did the Thrall Darkness Maze. Now this is part 2 of 4 for the raid. This is the bridge. There are a couple ways to cheese this. I've seen people doing this individually, but I'm not about any of that crap, using glitches or exploits or crazy things. So if you actually want to play the raid with a full team and do it normally, this is how you do it. So there are totems on either side. Once you step on this middle platform, enemies start to appear. So I actually triggered it right there, I think. Yeah. My job is to hold the middle. And when you are in the middle, a bridge starts to form. But unlike the end of the first part, you actually have to stay in this area for the bridge to fully materialize. A sword carrier will come down the stairs. You have to kill it, and someone picks up the sword. That's the only way you're able to run across this bridge. Alright, meanwhile, while I'm holding the center platform, while anyone is holding the center platform, you have to have people stand right under columns on either side. There's like mini towers. If you're not holding them, it becomes an annihilator totem, and after a few seconds, everybody wipes. So, if anyone happens to die on a side pillar, you have to get off the middle, or it'll keep triggering the annihilator totems. So, try and have 2 people on each side to start, 1 person in the middle, and we normally then have 1 person like standing, being a lookout on a column, or looking back and forth. So, you have to send someone across with the sword, as I mentioned a little earlier. Once they're able to cross the bridge, there's going to be a gatekeeper on the other side that can only be damaged with the sword. I think it takes 3 right trigger hits to kill it, 3 or 4. But the sword disappears after a short amount of time, so once you kill the gatekeeper, someone has to pick up the sword and get across. So as with any part of any raid, the key is communication. Make sure you know who is going to take the sword next. Make sure you're communicating where the sword carrier is. Make sure you're communicating who's on what side tower, the totems. Make sure someone's on the middle, etc., etc. If someone needs help, call it out. Just, I mean, it kind of sounds obvious, but the lack of communication is usually what kills a lot of raid teams, especially if you're trying to find people that are randoms to join you if you don't have 5 other friends on. Alright, so you see my job is to kill a lot of regular enemies coming down the stairs and then help put shots in the sword bearer. If the sword bearer does not take constant damage, its health recovers fully. So that is another big thing to point out. You have to keep doing constant damage to him or it will recover. Generally, this side only has thralls and acolytes, but knights do start to spawn. I'm not exactly sure when. I don't know if it's once you have 3 people across, is my best guess based on the times we've done this, but I'm not entirely sure. So here I'm going to use a synthesis. I was actually running out of regular ammo, and I didn't want to run off the platform because that will stop forming the bridge, and I want to keep it up. So that's why I have those on hand. You see someone died, so we had to I had to jump off here. Alright, so at this point I think we have 3 people across. So when 1 person died, that means we're not able to hold this anymore. But now it means the people on the other side could also get the bridge up. You can have their there's also totems and a platform on their side. So that's what we started to do here. I think Justin was in the middle on the other side forming that bridge. I was trying to keep enemies off of our sword carrier here. It's also important that you have to be conscious and willing and ready to not have to worry about getting across every time a sword bearer dies. Sometimes it just won't be possible. The bridge won't be up. It'll have taken too long to get the bridge up, and the sword will disappear too quickly, and you won't be able to kill the gatekeeper. And again, that's the only way you can hurt it, so getting a lot of gatekeepers on the other side is not a good idea. A gatekeeper spawns on the opposite side every time you kill a sword bearer, even if you don't get someone across, so you have to be careful. So this will take practice and a lot of communication to get down, but we have it down pretty well. I don't think we wiped at all. I'm also the last person to go across, so we'll be able to see that perspective. You can actually beat this with only getting one person across, but it's not exactly easy. And since there's 6 people, there would be way more enemies than there would be for solo, so it's much more difficult. But on the other side, what you have to do is after you kill a certain amount of enemies, wizards will come out, and then ogres will come out. You have to kill them, and then you'll see the objective change, and a door starts to open. Now, I will point out the second raid chest, because we get it here, and it's related to that door opening. The one in the first area, which I don't point out, it is actually in like 4 different places. It really depends. It's random. You can actually wipe, and there's one pretty near the start, and you can wipe and then find it in a door off to the left. But anyway, the second one, once you kill the enemies on the other side of the bridge and the objective comes up, the door starts to open, get in there. There will be some thralls and acolytes on the ground, and I think a couple knights. But then there will also be shriekers in the air, and if you just try and run through, you can't. There will be an invisible wall until you kill one shrieker and then a second shrieker. So try and take out the shriekers as quickly as possible. Why? Because the chest is at the other end of the hallway, and you have to get to it quickly, because there's a door closing at the other end of the hallway where the chest is. But if only one person gets in there, everyone will be able to get it, because the door will reopen. We actually got pretty fortunate here, because Nick got in the door, but then he also died to one of the Shrieker Death Blast, the little purple lights that seek you down, and it got him, but the door's still open, so it was pretty fortunate. Alright, so when I'm the last person, I usually like to stand on a column, because sometimes the enemies will stop spawning, but here, obviously, they didn't. So I just tried to stay alive. You can jump onto the big platform where I'm headed right now. You jump onto the part sticking out up top, and then over to the side, and there's like a landing platform where you can take cover. But I kept missing the jump. It was really bad, so I just give up on it. And I was almost dead, so I had to get out of there. I couldn't keep trying to do it. They were having problems on the other side, but then I asked, should I just kill him and try and get across? And they said yes, so now I'm starting to do damage. If possible, you see his health was going down when I wasn't shooting him. I have people from my team sniping at him from the other side, so they're also able to help. Now we're starting to get the bridge up. You can actually start to walk on it when it's half formed. It'll start forming from your side, and the other side won't be formed. So you can start to run on it, probably about, I would say, 10 to 15 seconds into the process starting. But then you would have to jump across the latter part. But there I got the message, the bridge is fully formed. But I'm just jumping here at the end just to be totally safe. And I'm across. If you're the last person across, the sword disappears right away, so you're not able to kill the gatekeeper. But now you just focus on killing the enemies, and then eventually the wizards and ogres will be there. You see wizards there right now. But I'm also taking a ton of damage. I'm trying to get the people to help revive them. You see an ogre's up, so it's pretty dangerous to try and revive right now. And you see there's still a 20-second countdown on this guy. Almost blew myself up with rockets, one of my trademarks. And I'm also taking a lot of damage from thralls, so I'm trying to not go down right now. See someone else went down. But still, all in all, we're doing pretty well. I was about to revive that person, but then I was getting swarmed. I didn't want to also go down and set us back, so I backed up. And Ornstein picks up the revive. Alright, so here's the second ogre. You see he's almost dead. Alright, there, you got a reward, and now the door will start to open. Alright, so you see we're already sprinting. I think I'm going to use a heavy ammo synthesis, actually. Yep, there we go. Just to more quickly take down the shriekers. I think Nick said he was going to go for the chest, so I'm trying to focus on support, taking out the Shriekers as quickly as possible so you can get there. And you see there's some explosive thralls, so you see I'm jumping a lot here to try and avoid their explosive blast. But, misadventure, of course I rocket myself. But, Nick was able to get in the door. Here I'm switching perspectives. There's Justin. Here's Nick. He just gets in the door. And that revived us all because it was also a checkpoint. So that was pretty sweet. You see the enemies have despawned. But you see Nick had died. But the door will start to reopen here. We were all like, oh gosh, no way, that's crazy. But there we go, it opened. I don't get a reward here because I had already got... Oh no, this is the one I do. Yeah. This week, when we beat the raid the first time, we weren't able to get this chest. We just kept going. And we didn't want to... When we wiped, we were already at the checkpoint beyond this, so the door was closed. So I actually get, I think, the Radiant Shards here. Yeah, there we go. And alright, that is the end of the second major section of this new Crota's End raid on the moon. I hope you're finding these guides helpful. I will put up part 3 about taking down the wizard soon. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and look for that video shortly.